Sorry, just realized the audio was off, so I'll start at the beginning. In this video, we're looking to go through and do a virtual stand-up, as if it was an agile project with multiple members, go through the details of the issues that were raised in the last 24 hours, and give a demonstration, cover some testing terms, and then go through the priority items that were put out in the last release, and then cover any other test any other items as well. So if I was to do a stand-up for the project, where you go into the meeting, it's just a quick brief of what you did yesterday, what you plan to do today, and if you've got any issues, you can then raise them with the rest of the team. People might be able to see if they can unblock you or help out with it if there was something that you ran into issues. So it's a quick way for the team to get feedback and see if they can do anything to help each other out. So what happened yesterday? I found 3 bugs. One to do with the firefighting activity, another one to do with prime activity, and then there was an issue where if you went into one of the musical items and then came back out of it, it would still broadcast audio even though you had the setting for the audio off. There were some other issues found with the dice, where the game says count the number of the items shown on the dice, and it might lead to a bit of confusion. I found another issue with the scales, and there was one other issue with the letter K, but I'm going to proceed without that. So going into the details of the issues, I'll bring the board off to do that with show. We've got the control the hose pipe. So in this particular bug, it deals with the control the hose pipe activity. So if we go through the first time, the person is to drag their finger along. Just it's getting a bit of lag and displaying there to put out the fire, and that's everything working well. If they drag it off, then it goes back. But if they come out of the activity and then go back into the activity, then the hose is gone. Some variable set as part of running it the first time, and it doesn't have an issue there. And hats off to the developers who I raised the issue with, and they've already implemented a fix. So I'll go into that one. I received word that they should put it out maybe at the end of March as a next release cycle build there. But if you end up quitting the program, going back into it, then you get the hose back again. So it's not too severe at all. The issue of the numbers with the dice, and that's the numbers with the dice. So type the number on the dice, 1 or 2, in which case, well, the program expects you to go 2 because there's 2 on the top. But sometimes I've been a bit too literal, and I can see other people doing it as well. For the dots, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And count the number on the side. So for the project of the virtual school, so there's this application, and if we go back, there's the one for dominoes. I think it's in, okay, I'll use search. So in the case of the school, I just note and recommend that they use dominoes instead of the dice. And that eliminates any confusion because there's no side of this one shown. And then proceed with that. I know the developers have something else going on. They might have already put a fix in. We go into the help. There's no, there might be one to show Roman numerals. Might have it confused with something else, but I know there's a plans for them to put algebraic numbers in there instead of just the dots as a way to help. Well, maybe I think it's the dominoes that have, yeah, different things. Sorry, not algebraic numbers, Arabic numbers and Roman numerals. Anyway, that's the numbers with the dice. So balancing the scales correctly. I found a bit of an interesting bug there. Let's go into measures. So you drag the weight on the left side and balance the scales. Well, we know it's 2, but I'm going to overload it. And we'll put 3 in there, it fits fine, but the 4th one and the 5th one comes over to the side. I know if you expect to play the game, then usually as it's intended, it wouldn't go over the top. And I'm not really thinking of doing it, it's just something I noticed that might come up and bring to people's attention. So I'm just going to note that into my job notes. Drawing letters, and this is just me having an eye out for anything to go through. So go to the letter K. To me, I've never seen a K where the line to the downward line starts here. It always sort of starts in the middle. And that gets people used to how to draw the letters first up. And drawing that K is not too... It's, let's go into... Yeah, the baby keyboard will show it. So we've got K here where they both come out of the same part, and K there where it comes to the part. So that whoever the student is going to get exposed to how it's normally shown very quickly. Primes. So I've already been told there's a fix for this one as well. And if you go to the primes, crank it up to the highest level, we've got 17, 19 is a prime number. So that is them fine. If I go to 22, I get an error message saying 22 is divisible by 2 and 11. But if I go to 23, I get an error message saying that 23 is divisible by undefined and undefined, where it's actually a prime. So there was one section of the code that displayed the numbers. There was another one that checked whether they were primes or not, and that's now been combined. Now the last one, which I'm not going to show on stream, and I've got a video as a pinned comment to the live chat, is if you go into one of the music issues, any of those, it'll say, even though you've got the settings off, it'll say this activity needs music, needs noise on, so do you want to play it, yes or no? And it doesn't matter whether you say continue or quit, then music is on for the remainder of the time that you've got the application open. And it's a bit finicky for me to close and reopen this as its current setup, so I'm not going to demonstrate that. And I've got another video for that as well. And of course, if you go and open the app, and then if you select the option to quit out of it, it then gives you audio anyway. I consider that to be one of the more severe bugs in here. And the developers have said still, we're expecting to fix it. Thanks for giving us the heads up. And they could get into it. But I think they're a bit busy with some other things. So if you're not familiar, for the setup of this week-long project, I've been engaged as a fictional engagement by Department of Education to assess this program and go through test it for fitness for whether they should add it to their recommended applications list. So I'm just going to go through some keywords and things in testing and rip through them. So test monitoring is the act of checking where we're at with regards to the schedule and then tracking where we're at. This whole project game has about 180 different activities. If you only have a 40-hour week, then that's 4 activities per hour. It's going to not go through it. So what's happened is that the project manager would look at this and say, yeah, we're not going to get it done in time, so go back to the stakeholders and say, what do we need to do? And test control is taking actions to rectify and make sure the schedule is there and going to be set up. Exploratory testing is a test technique where you look at the software, and based on what you find, you then recalibrate, and you might find more bugs in a particular area and go back to that one. It's compared to running with set test procedures, where you go through and follow the test procedure. You might have deviations, you might have parts where you can do that, but you've pretty much locked on course until you complete the written test procedure. We're pretty much sort of flying by the seat of our pants here to cover everything. We've got general waypoints to go to, but how a particular module is tested is pretty much up to the tester. So static testing, that's the act of testing software without running the testing, without running the program. What that means is you might be looking at the source code, you might be looking at the documentation, you could be doing a review or a walkthrough of the code and implementation, but it's not being tested. The code itself isn't being ran. Regression testing is the act of testing something that was previously built in the software in its new release to make sure that it hasn't broken. So if you upgraded, say, a database, even though you haven't really changed any of the functionality and added any new features to it, you'd still want to regression test and make sure that if searches and things were there, that they still work. not just make a release of a new bit of software, maybe add 5% of new functionality to it, and then think, you haven't changed anything else. We don't need to test that. We only need 5% of the previous version's test effort. If you find that everything's all interlinked, you might have things broken by adding the new features. A high-level test case is one that doesn't specify exactly what is to be done. It might be something similar to go to an e-commerce website and purchase an item and use a card, a credit card to pay. But then you could go through and do that. Another one might be to use, to go through and buy multiple items. It doesn't say which items. Low-level test cases, you're going in and you're giving explicit steps of what to do. The test case might be add it to your cart, sit there, add something else to your cart, click pay, click this particular item, enter these specific credit card numbers, and go through it. So dynamic testing is the opposite of static testing. We're doing testing where we're running with the program. When you're writing a test case, you've got an expected result of when you do a certain action of what you think would happen. The actual result is what actually happened. So with the fire hose example earlier, the expected result, if I go out of the activity, come back into it, fire hose will be available for subsequent entries. Which brings us to the next one of an anomaly and a defect. An anomaly is something that appears out of the ordinary, and a defect is a confirmed issue with the program, which leads us to a defect report, which I then write up and the steps on how to reproduce it and pass it off to the developers so they can then write the code. So as a tester, you don't need to know how the program underneath works. You could just have to be a user of it. So you don't need to be computer tech savvy. Tech savvy is nice, I guess. But what I mean is fully aware of what's going on under the hood of a program. You just have to be a normal computer user. Then you've got the severity and the priority. I've seen risk matrices where there's the impact and then there's the severity, how many users are affected, and then what's the cause of the issue. So with severity, we'd say that with the fire hose one, well, this doesn't you just have a user where they have to restart it. But the severity of the piano bug would be a bit more severe, as the issue will still give the program noise, even though setting shows it's not meant to be giving noise. And a priority can be summed up as a total effort of which bug should be fixed first. Is it just a typo in some documentation that's not expected to be seen? Or is it, if you load a second thing, maybe a memory leak where it'll come through and crash it? So an error is a mistake that some person has made into the system that caused the issue to occur. And debugging is the act of the developer going through the code to find out the exact cause of the code and what code they've got to fix to get that working right. Once the developer's got the fix, made a patch out, made a new release, the tester would go back and then do confirmation testing to make sure that the bug has been fixed, it's no longer present. And related to that, we've got exhaustive testing, which is not possible to achieve, particularly with a program this size, where that would be you'd go through and you'd test every possible combination of every input and output. It might be possible to do that for some things trivial, like maybe the positions activity, but for the whole program as a whole, it's not going to be happening. Alpha testing. I think the formal definition of it is that end users are testing on site at the developer's premises, and beta testing is the testing before public release outside of the developer's premises. But with everything is done with distributed testing at the moment and people working from home and everything, the lines between alpha and beta testing are a bit blurred. So I'd say alpha testing is an initial small pool of testers, and then beta testing might be wide and open. And you can have public beta testing where you might even make a new program or a new version of software available to the public for either a low fee or possibly free, time-limited. Change-related testing is, and I'm about to do that tonight, testing related to specific changes. And so version 3 of the software has got several new activities. One to do with mouse click training with the left and right buttons, another one comparing numbers, a few activities on tens complement, one on Morse code and some fractions. Then the component would be a specific item. So you might have an activity component which deals with the overarching program itself that deals with handing control to and from activities. But you might also have an activity such as positions or something new that's been added to it. And say they wanted to add a new game, there would be a new component added as part of this software. And almost done. The last one I'll touch on, and I'll see about putting in some more for tomorrow night as part of the early on, because I just wanted to batch all of these up before going through and doing some testing, is planning poker. And that's where you might be doing some backlog assessment. You might have a particular item. Sorry, I'll bring the screen out. You might have a particular item and say, for this particular test case, how long do you think it would take to do that? And then people might have a deck of cards. You could use real cards if you wanted to, like the normal 52 card deck. And there's specific cards as well. You might use even not use cards of shirt sizes like extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, extra large. And we just don't know there's a way to do it. And what happens with that is you discuss the issue, ask any questions, and then there comes a point where I'm going to say showdown happens. And that's when everyone chooses a card that's their estimate, and then everyone reveals their estimate at the same time. So this is to stop people from just nodding and going along and saying, yep, that's exactly what I think, without them doing it, because you then have to come up with your own estimate. And if you're continually outside of what other people's estimates are, then it's obvious that you're not really tracking along with following. Sorry. But if you do have an estimate that's wildly out, after your initial showdown, you might have a following showdown where you might discuss it a bit more, because someone might have assumed something was in, and someone else something is out, and they might say, no, everyone else thinks it's going to take 8 hours, but it's going to take 2, and along those lines. So now I'll kick on into one of the activities. The first one is mouse click training. So into the help. So move the animals to the homes using left and right clicks on your mouse. And using the mouse, left and right click training. So the left click on a fish will move it to the pond. The right click on a monkey will move it to a tree. And the message will show you if you make the wrong click. So let's make the right ones and do positive testing first. Make sure the system does what it should. So right clicking on the monkey moves it to the tree. Now I'm going to do the wrong stuff. Right click on the fish. And left click on the monkey, and then let's get all of those through and make everyone else line up. So got the success for that one. Then left click, and we're right, and go through, and I'll just do one last one, and yep, get it wrong again, and we're right to go. So that component's successfully done. Actually, sorry, I'll go back to it. Whereas if you've got the dice here where it says there's a message up here giving you a prompt as to what to do. If someone goes into the mouse click training and they just haven't seen whatever there is, they don't really know what to do. I'd like to see a prompt there, and I'm just going to move off screen it over to there for a note for later. And that brings us to the next issue of compare numbers. So help again, compare the numbers and choose the corresponding sign, less than, equal to, greater than. Learn how to compare the number values, select a pair of numbers on the list, then select the corresponding comparison symbol for this pair. When each line contains a symbol, select the OK button to validate the answers. If some of the answers are incorrect, a cross will appear on the corresponding lines, correct the errors, and then select OK. So I'm not going to worry about the keyboard controls specifically for this one, but I'm going to make sure to get everything wrong the first time around. 6 is less than 1. Say 5 is less than 3. And then say 1 is greater than 1. So I should have gotten everything wrong. All right, so let's go back and sort that out. So 3 is greater than 1. 4 is equal to 4. 6 is greater than 1. 5 is greater than 3. And 1 is equal to 1. And we've got them all right. We moved on to the next level. So 2 is less than 7. 7 is less than 8. 8 is less than 9. 1 is less than 9. And 4 is greater than 2. So I've got the opposite wrong and the other one's wrong. So I'm going to check the equals for this one. I'm going to make everything there. We've got a less than and a greater than and mark them all wrong. Then I'm going to mark all of them wrong the other way. So 8 is less than 5 to make it wrong. 8 is greater than 9. And 4 is less than 1. So all of them. Sorry, saying 5 is greater than 8, make them all wrong. And then make them all right. So 1 is less than 5. 5 is less than 8. 8 is greater than 5. 8 is less than 9. 4 is greater than 1. Right to go. And now I'm just going to start blitzing through it. So I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm going to look to get everything right. And then progress through as quick as I can to speedrun this. As we move up in levels, we're going to have different numbers. And I do want to try and get them all. So no, 6 is not equal. I've just missed it. 8, 6 is less than 9. Yep, there we go. 7 is less, equal, less, and greater. Greater, greater, less, greater, and greater. Greater, less, 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 and less. So not sure why it hasn't kicked up into other numbers yet, but I'm going to go through it. I'll bring the keyboard into it if I can. Actually, I'm going to leave one of them empty and see how we go. It's a bit of a problem. We don't have an OK. Just going to make a note of this off to the side. Okay, I don't have an OK because I haven't given answers for everything, so that's not really an issue. And that's weird. It looks like it's... I don't think I went back in... Going into the menu, I've gone back to the... reset the counter back to it. Okay, so... Let's see how many levels we've got. 26 in total. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's going to be that's a lot of numbers. All right, speedrun. Sorry if this gets a bit boring, but I said I'd focus on testing this, and I'm going to be thorough. But if anyone does have any questions, then let me know. I should be able to talk while I'm doing these. This is where test automation would come in handy, but they're randomly generated, not static data set. I'm deliberately putting less than in there is wrong. Hopefully it'll kick into teens this time. Yep. So 4 less than 11, 8 greater than 6, 19 greater than 4, 13 greater than 6, 16 greater than 13, 15 less than 7, 18 greater than 2, 11 greater than 6, 9 greater than 3, 13 greater than 6, 4 less than 12, 6 less than 11, 18 less than 19, and 14 greater than 1. So I'm going to mess some up this time. I'm going to get it wrong, all of them. Well, almost all of them, sorry. Clicked into series 5 now. So it can get repetitive as testing. Sorry, 13 less than 7. and it should kick into, yeah, now I've got numbers up to the hundreds. So 63 less than 68, 3 less than 75, 81 greater than 41, and 47 less than 90, 85 greater than 14. So I'm going to deliberately set them all to equal this time. Set them to wrong. And flip them all to right. And just stick with the right ones. I think it'll give us more of the hundreds this time. I'm not sure if there's a pattern to odds and evens, whether it gives you a bit more. Variety might give you some close numbers and then some further apart. Yeah, whatever these are close together. They're within the large number set and then close together. I'm not sure if it's randomly showing equals. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm happy I'm getting a broad spectrum of digits, and that if someone completes all of this, they could confidently tell less, larger and smaller. Now we're getting into the hundreds. So sorry if you've just joined me chat. I am still happy to chat, but I said I'd go through these modules thoroughly, and I'm trying to speedrun them as we go. Oops, that's larger, and that one's larger as well. So less than, greater than, less than, greater, and greater. So this module getting us to test whether numbers are larger or smaller. It's one of the newer modules in the program, so that's why I'm being a bit thorough for it. As part of a fictional assessment by an education board. If you've got any questions or comments otherwise, I'm happy to mix it up, but at the moment I'm just going to rip through this. So I think we went back to the close module again. Sorry, 333 is greater than 329. Now we're into the thousands. I do wonder if it's the likelihood of getting exact equal numbers here. Probably not great. So leave a comment if there's anything else you want me to talk about. I said I'd go through and test this thoroughly, so I'm going to go through all the numbers. I can check the chat and talk at the same time if you've got any questions. But I'm just going to go through the comparison numbers modules first, and then test some of the other recent releases of this software. All right, that one's greater. I'm going to try and get all of these wrong. Now I've got some close ones, so it's only 10 difference for that one, and only 3 differences, I think, for that one. I do have an equal, 2 equals. And another one. Now I think we're approaching billions. 87 million, which is more or less. Yeah, pretty confident it's all going to be right here. Oops, I saw no. Yep, getting messed up with skipping some of the digits. slightly higher. So it's only taken me 10 minutes of doing it that I've come up with a suggestion of whenever a user clicks an item, it automatically goes down. So 501.318, which I'm just going to go off screen and note at the moment. Maybe it will be a setting, and I'll duck into the settings soon. Yeah, sorry if this is getting a bit like watching grass grow. But having the video of it actually being done does help with the audit capability, and particularly with quality assurance as well. If quality assurance isn't really about making sure you do the right thing, it's about making sure that you've done what you've said you've done. Of course, if everyone goes to the test procedure and they say, well, that's not how you do it this way, and then it comes down to audit when you figure out the customer does it exactly, and your customer does it exactly by the book, and that causes a bug, then that's when you can get into some strife. All right, so I'm at the start of 18, and we've got the data set there. We haven't even really reached the decimal points yet. Right, so now we're getting the really close big numbers. Oh, that's all right, 25 to go. Yeah, I just looked at the thousands and missed that. If I was doing it as a real exam, I wouldn't be doing it quite as rushed. More than happy for the system to tell me I've got one wrong, and then double check it to make sure. I guess if I purely wanted to speed run it, I could just mash keys and go back and flip the switches of the ones I'm told I'm wrong, but that's, yeah. Anyway, mistakes were okay. If I don't get it right the first time, we can go back and make sure. All right, so now we've got decimal points in there. strange that everything seems to be +1 or equal. All right, I'm just going to take some time and go back to this one and see if I can see a pattern here. All right, so I'm going to note it down on the compare numbers. So it looks to be either equal or +1. Equal, equal. There's a less than. Equal +1. Maybe it's weighted. Oh, I'm not going to worry too much about it then. Move on to the next one. Yeah, so these look to be close, but with decimals and getting a bit of everything. Now we're into 2 decimal places. Oh yeah, 58, not 57. Be interesting if some of the numbers were actually rounded a little bit. I'd consider it as bigger or less than. And for the 2 decimal places, they round to equal. But I don't think that's the case. I think I would have had something I would have picked up as wrong by now. Forgotten how many sets there were in the activity. That's going to be less than, greater than, and greater than. Certainly covers everything. Now we're into 3 decimal places. I think this is the last one. No, back to right, 2 to go. Okay, surprised. I actually got an equal. And another equal. Greater than, less, greater, great, no. Should be the very last one. 8773, not the other way around. And done. Right, back to the beginning. Alright, so I don't think there was any issues with that one. Yeah, I'm going to treat the issue when I got in number 19 as not really an issue. I'm going to step away and mute the mic for a minute. Just give myself a bit of a break and have a drink, and I'll be back soon. All right, and we're back. So the next one is to do with tens complement. So tens complement is whatever number added with 10, whatever two numbers add together to make 10. In this case, select 8, 2 and 8 is 10, 6 and 4 is 10, 9 and 1 is 10. So I'll go through the first set and then go to the help. And I've got to be honest, I haven't heard of tens complement before this update comes out. I've certainly heard of ones and twos complement to do with binary arithmetic, but not this one. So hopefully it'll become apparent with the other ones too, that it can help, I think, do maths easier. All right, so now I'm on to part 1 of 2. Okay, so we expand the first numbers, and then later find both. So find the tens complements of each other. Later find tens complements. Create pairs of numbers equal to 10. Select the number from the list, then select an empty spot to move it to. When they're there, press OK to validate. Yeah, to correct the errors. And okay, so I'm going to actually go back to the here and let's get one of them right and 2 of them wrong. All right, let's get them all wrong. Okay, we'll move on to number 2. And I'll get them wrong again. And then start getting them. Actually, I'll get one right again and get the others wrong. Yep, okay, and now I'll move back to getting everything right. Now I'm just going to keep going straight with right. Let's check the rolls again. And then start getting all the right ones. Just realized the screen was showing the wrong resolution and the mic has been muted for a bit, so sorry about that. I think that might have happened when I took a short break. Came back in a hurry. So now I've got more numbers. I should have figured out how many total we've got here. Got 5 in total. Okay, so 8 is the number to go through, so that's nowhere near as bad as the last one. And now we've got both sides, so yeah, very easy. So now I've got both sides, so I'm going with 5 and 5, and then 6 and 4, and then let's try something a bit different. Eight and 5 and 5. Alright, so I'm going to take 8 and 2 out and then put 2 over here and then 8 there. Good. So it looks like ordering doesn't make any difference at all, whether I do 6 and 4 or 4 and 6. to try and check some things and put 8 and 2 out, but I think that's, yeah, this is the last one. And we're back to number 1, so that looks perfect to me. So I will try something new. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and then so only go, yeah, to go up to 8. Yep. Okay. I'm happy with that one. Just moved swap tens complement into in progress. Okay. Oh, technically, no matter which way you cut these order of operations, they're going to be the same. But I think it's trying to get the math principle of shuffle things around and then get lots of 10, make it quickly, to add things up quickly. I'm going to get this one wrong. Pretty sure I did this one before, but it looks like it's only one of them, so not a lot of 10. Yep, it cycles through, so I'm just going to make that through. So it looks like we've got, now it's getting a bit better. All right, so we know 4's the odd number out, and then no, 8 and 2, 1 and 9 and 4, 9 and 1, 6 and 4 and 5, 8 and 2, 3 and 7 and 5, 8 and 2, 3 and 7 and 2 here, 6 and 4, 3 and 7 and 6, 9, 1, 7 and 3 and 2. Okay. That's making more sense now. Yeah, fairly quick to get through this one. It's much easier. Trying to figure out if there's a bit of a way to optimize, but I don't think I'm gonna in the time available. That was terrible. And we're back to the first one, so that looks like it. Let's happy to pass with that one. So there's move that over to done and bring the use tense complement into in progress. Right, so 5 and 5 plus 2, then 9 and 1. Well, that's 9, 1 and 2. One, 9 and 4. Just see how many sub-activities there are of this one when I'm done. And then rejoin in 2. Six in total, okay. Shouldn't be that hard. I'm going to get this one wrong then, deliberately for both of them. Then let's get just the top one wrong. All right, and then both of them right. 4, 6 and 3, 5, 5 and 6. Oops. 3, 7 and 7, and then 5, 5 and 2. 7 and 3 makes 10, plus 6. Now we're getting into larger numbers. Plus 19, so wait, that's not right. 5 and 5 and there we go. That's it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure I follow exactly what we're meant to be achieving here, the underlying part of it, but I get what it's trying to do, but what we're splitting it out and making things a bit using common additions to sort of simplify, but and I think it's making sense now. If I was, I guess, learning addition from scratch, I'd borrow 6 from 29, and then to get and back to the beginning. Decompose the additions to create pairs of numbers equal to 10 within each parenthesis. Select a number in the list, select an empty spot, and all the lines are completed, press OK to validate. If some answers are incorrect, a cross will appear. Enter correct. Well, I've gone once around, so I'm happy with that. So moving that into the done pile. So 3 to go. Discover international Morse code, create fractions, and find the fractions. I'll go for the fractions. Let's go with find the fractions first. So find the represented fraction. Find the correct numerator and denominator for each represented fraction. No, should have tried getting negative numbers with that one. Yeah, hit 0 like 5 times and then it's into 1. So let's see how far we can go. I am going to stop at about yeah, I don't think there's any more, but I will make a note for that. There is a buffer overflow problem that could, but no, I don't think with the languages involved that it's going to. I really got myself to blame because I've got to go. No, let's see if I can, yeah, reset it that way. All right, 1/3. 10, 11, so we've only got one missing. 1/9, I'm taking it as read that whatever circle this is, it's correct. So I'm only counting the portions, I'm not validating the bottom half. Two of two possible portions. One, two, three, four, five. All right, so let's see what we've got. Options with pi, with squares, find the top and the bottom. I forget which one's the numerator and I forget which one's the denominator. Yeah, I think the denominator is the bottom one. Which means I think we've got, yeah, 12 different, okay. So it looks like there's different. No, that'll be it. Once we've found whole numbers, we go above whole numbers. Two, three, four, five. Got a bit of chalk for the chalkboard there. So now I've got more than a whole unit. We've got 8/7. 2 halves. 10/10. Just a half. 1 1/4 with 5/4. Now we've switched to the bottom, so 3 out of the 4 possible spots, 3/4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6/11. 7ths. 4/5. So 5 on the right side, so 10ths. Very easy. Half. Doesn't matter, there's 16 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1.6 makes perfect sense. Sorry, 3 halves. I just realized I haven't gotten anything wrong yet. Three ninths, we'll simplify it down to a third. 11/8. Two thirds. 6/7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I should have been able to take it as read. There was 7 and then count the 4 free ones and then just add it. So use that now. 4/7, 7/5. So now we're getting harder. We've got to figure out the top and the bottom. Fifth. 2/5. That's where I had the top part set to 2. Oh well, 2/6. Third. Looks like it'll be 9/10. Let's see if that works. I'm not sure that should have. That's right, but I'm not sure. So now I've got 5ths, but there's 9/5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 5/11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 14. 14/9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8/9. I'm gonna try and be tricky here and deliberately make it twice the size. See if it, yeah, it does mark it correct. Okay. I'll let the developers know, see if that's a bug, but what is correct with simplification? Maybe if they just amend the documentation and say, we'll simplified fractions are okay. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 4/11. And off to a half again. Four 11ths again. 5/4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2 11ths. And we're back to the beginning. I'm going to check the document. Check the documentation on that one. Yeah, it doesn't explicitly say anything, so I'm going to mark that as a Go back and edit it. Say in the help that answers of simplified fractions are okay. And that should be the fractions done. Take the comments and put that into follow-up. So what's probably, no, create the fractions. Getting a bit ahead of myself. Create the fractions. Okay, set a quarter of the pie. Shape split into equal parts displayed on the screen. Select the appropriate number of parts as described in the instructions. Okay. Select a half. One third. 2/5. It doesn't have to say they were contiguous segments. 2/3. 1 pi and a half. One and a third. 1 3/4 of a pi. 1 1/4. 1 2/5. Third of a square. Let's see. Okay, so we've got, I'm not sure what specific questions are going to be, but oh, only one way to find out. I'll try and turn a bit of speedrun on. It's getting a bit late in the night. I think I'm getting a bit tired, even though one and a third of a square. One and 3/4 of a square. Half the pi. Yep, a third, 3/9. Half a pi. Quarter of a pi. Yeah, 2/5 is 4/10. 2/3, 6/9. 1/3, 2/6. 3/5, so I need 6. So I've got a quarter, third, three-fifths, 6/10, yep. Aha, 0.8, well that's 4/5. 0.4. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's going to be a bit more. One and a quarter. 1.5. Same again, 1.5. 0.8. And 0.4, 2/5. 3/4. Half. And a quarter. So let's see where the next segment goes. I changed the ordering. So number 12 asks, doesn't show fraction. All right, so do the whole lot there. So what I just noted down there was we got 1.75 squares, but here or have I been blind the whole time? I'm starting to think I've been blind. Right, so that's what they mean by question. We've got 12. Yeah, it looks like I've just haven't noticed it. But we've got the fraction the whole time. So let's go back, edit that comment. Get rid of it, because if everything continues as it is, then we're doing very well. Got that one wrong. Okay, looks like that one's tenths. %. Well, 150. Okay, so 30%. So now it's 170%. So 17 segments. Select as many parts as you can without taking up more than half. Yeah, I've taken up more than half there. All right, so it looks like it's going to be the same question all the way through. And we're done. Yeah, and the whole way through it looks like it shows the fractions, so I must have just been seeing things earlier. Let's create the fractions is done and dusted. So International Morse code. Morse code was developed by Samuel Morse. It's a method of transmitting text information as a series of on and off tones, lights or clicks. Each Morse code symbol represents either a text character, letter or numeral, or a prosign, and is represented by a unique sequence of dots or dashes, dots and dashes. The duration of a dash is 3 times as the duration of a dot. To increase the speed of communication, the code was designed so that the most common letters have shorter sequences of dots and dashes. For example, the most common letter in English is E, and the shortest code, a single dot. When you're ready, click on Tux and we'll converse in Morse code. So, send and receive letters and digits in Morse code. You're either asked to send a message in Morse code or convert the received Morse code to letters and digits. To learn Morse code, you can have a look at the translation map, which contains the code for all letters and digits. All right, so they've got a hint option here that can be turned on and off. I've got a section I can look at to get a reference point. Send the message S in Morse code. So I'll refer to this, which is ... but I already know that it's one of the few letters I know because it's SOS ... as one of the very common letters. So 4 dots for H. Select the E. So we've got 7 letters to send here. N dash dot. So A dot dash, which shows up here is for the hint. I. There's one of the other vowels. It's one of the more common letters, so it makes sense to put it as something very short. Dot dash dot. And there we go. Okay, so convert dot dash dot to letters. So it's just giving me R. I've just noticed that there's no V in the virtual keyboard. Just going to make a note of that off screen. I think I know why. I think it's not going to be a big problem, but because because I don't think in this activity there's going to be a need to send the letter V. So I've already had a little bit of a look under the hood. I think it's a dot dash for this one, so an N. The dot of E. So I've checked out the code underneath, and it of the options I can choose here, it's pre-canned. It doesn't select randomly from the entire alphabet. It's a selection of just a few letters. And possibly it knows all the letters it's going to do it, just get shown it in a random order. Dot dash. So for an A. So we're at dot dash again. So I think that's going to be A. Fast, fast, fast. So S. Dot, dot. So I. Dot. I think it's going to be E. Dash dot. N. Four dots. Oops, I didn't give it a choice. I think it's going to be, yeah, H. Dot dash dot. So R, I think. So send the message W in Morse code. Dot dash dot. Dot dash dash. O. I already know that one's going to be dash dash dash. Send K. Dash dot dash. T. Just a dash. M. Dash dash. G. Dash dash dot. Dot dash dash, which is, it's just flipped over the W. Dash dash dash. Sorry, that's O. Single dash, I think it's T. Dash dot dash. See if there's a way to make this text larger. So K. Dash dash. So M for Mike. dash dash dot. So G for golf. Long, short, long. Long, short, long. So okay. Short, long, long. Should have come a bit more prepared for this one. So W. Just a short should be an E. No, maybe I've mixed up and yeah, got the long, mistook the long for the other. Hi, Emmanuel. Thanks very much. No worries. There's going to be a few more notes for this one coming through, but the highlights is everything's pretty good. Dot dash dot. No. Dash 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 dot. So G. Small but enthusiastic. So yeah. Find the corresponding letter. Dash dash dot. G for golf. Dash dash. Thank you. Dash dash dash. No, that's the O, not the S. Well, in that case, spoiler alert, then we're about to come across one of the things I picked up earlier today that you guys have already put the fix out for it. So D in Morse is dash dot dot. B dash dot dot dot. And I have got an idea for putting in a new module as an introduction to chess. So you've got chess endgames and you've got chess versus Tux, you've got chess versus a friend, but I'm liking the idea of a introduction to chess where you say maybe just have a king and a few pawns on the board, and that way you can get used to moving the pawns, and then maybe in the next iteration you add a bishop or a knight or something along those lines. But I won't worry too much about that now. Send a P in Morse code. Dot dash dash dot. And U for uniform. Dot dot dash. C for Charlie. Dash dot dash dot. Whoops, so V for Victor. Dot 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 dash. That's what I'm thinking. I've saw what the end game has done, and I know there's one of the scenarios where you've got maybe 30 pieces on the board or something along those lines. But I'm thinking just maybe reduce the set of pieces on the board, and that way the player then gets to move, and then the computer then does the best move. So we're going to set it up so that the opposition computer is they're well behind in pieces, and it's unfair. But the player then gets experience moving the other pieces around, whereas things like the rook, where it's normally boxed into a corner in the normal setup, you could get out and play it fairly quickly. Convert ... dash to letters. Okay. All right, so I've got ... dash, which is V. But as noted before, there's no V on the keyboard, on the virtual keyboard. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on some scenarios. I'll see if I might be able to mastermind it and come up with some things like some puzzles. I wouldn't say, puzzles as such. You're not worried about the best move and get a brilliant move, but that way they could get experience like moving a knight without having to worry about living pieces. They might have 4 knights and a few pawns and versus a king or something along those lines, and maybe there's a rook where if they move the knight correctly they can capture a rook or something along those lines. But some go through some of the board setups and similar. And ... dash. So it's U for uniform, but I'm going to deliberately get it wrong. Dash. C for Charlie. Dash ... Almost need a quick reference. Yeah. If it's fairly easy to add something like I'm going to call it tooltip, like when you open the dice activity, it says up the top to count the numbers as the pieces fall. As a bit of a tooltip. Something like that might be interesting, but I'll have to take a pen and paper and think about spend a bit of time, but I'm not too sure. Something like, sorry, too many things at once. P for Papa. And work on things like stalemate, check, and some of the advanced things like castling or something like that. But I did mention on IRC earlier about adding it dash ... and just adding text originally. It's possible, but it was recommended for me to keep it simple. To have ... dash dot. Keep it simple to not make it the job real hard for people that translate it. But given the engine itself the chess engine will show you what moves are available. Dash dot. It should be fairly easy to make some scenarios on. dash dot dot dot. I did want to learn Morse when I was much younger, but I never really spent the time. Dot dot dash. I think this one's X for X-ray. No. Dot 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 dash then, so V for Victor. We'll keep going through. Yeah, it's getting a bit late in the night. Dash dot dash dot dash dot dash dash, sorry. Okay, I just think I figured out the way the setup was gone through it. It gives the most common letters earlier on and then works to some of the less common letters. Which makes sense. So it does give 100% coverage of, well, I think it gives, that's right, I haven't looked at that yet. I'm just basing it off the V's missing from the I might cover it one way. It's just a bit odd that it misses it from the main alphabet. But that's when you bring many eyes to look at an issue, some people see things differently to others, and dash dash dot dot. Yeah, the Z, I knew it was going to be one of the lower common ones. Dot dash dash dash. Dot dot dash dot. I think I might have to come back to this one later. Yeah, no. Oh. At least I've got an idea now what letters to not look for. We're into the least common letters. Yeah. I'm going to skip over this section. It's getting a bit late. I'm going to miss the lights. I'm just going to be like bashing my head up against a wall. Some of the numbers. So I'm going to just check one of them and then go on to one of the things I was thinking of or found earlier. I've been told there's already a bug fix in the system for it, but I came across something like this. I just ran through a snippet earlier, picked one of the hard ones. So I went dot dash dash, put in a space. So if you're eagle-eyed, you could pick up that W is there. I didn't see this on the first time through. And then when we put this space here, it then disappears. So H, 4 dots. A dot dash. So I've been using the virtual keyboard to so that way I could show what I've been pressing on stream, and I get the sad face. But because the underspace symbol here, or I'm going to call it a square bracket that's fallen over, is different from a space. It doesn't, it registers as a separate ticker. But I was told it's already been a bug fix and I was given one for it. So it looks like it's well underway. There's no need to go through that. And looks like it then sends on to the Word. I'm going to quit out of this one. Actually, while I've got you here, I will go into, sorry. So yeah, you're probably already familiar to it. So make something like this instead of, say, like Introduction to Chess, and then maybe put a tooltip saying visit the help. Then you can get to read the tips on how each of maybe the pieces move, and then have something similar to this one where you've got massively outclassed, but you still have to end the level, checkmate the opponent's piece. Whether you do that with maybe a rook, or whether you have to get a queen, a pawn to the other side to then get a queen, and then find a way to do that. Or even if you don't end up doing it, you might just have a few knights and get some practice moving them around. But as soon as I saw like a scenario like this one, where we've got eight queens maybe, but certainly a lot more than you have in the normal one, then I thought that'd be an interesting way to do it, rather than try and, originally it was just say shoehorn text into here and then try and explain some things. I think another module would probably be better, but I'll sit down and plan it all. To have tips at the top of the screen to have it more interactive. Of some of the things like with digital electricity, you get some tips pop up as well. So, but then that's sort of. But otherwise, I'm impressed by it. I've recommended the software to a few of my friends with small children and said, like, look, you need to get it. I don't know if you're able to. We'll go back in. This is probably the closest. Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of real estate here. If something was to put up, even if it was maybe like, the horse or knight moves differently to get someone familiar with the movements. But I'd probably draft up a concept of operations, see about joining the IRC channel one time, and then just putting it out there for discussion, saying, here's what I'm thinking, and is this easy, developers? I can work on the scenarios, work on the board location, the text to go through it, and see about it. Yeah. And yeah, I guess they add things like the special rules for check, but with the idea of being you're not going to teach, say, advanced strategy or something along those lines, but yeah, if you just have a tablet with software and then no other reference point, you can't even look up, say, Wikipedia, you could then, become familiar with the rules of the game. Even, yeah. I'm pretty much running out of steam. It's there's not too much else really I was thinking of doing. I was thinking of going into Tangram after it. But yeah, Emmanuel, if there's anything else you want to run past me, ask my opinion of while you've got me, I'm more than happy to try anything, do anything that I can in the game, or anything related if you want. But otherwise, I might wrap it up and, or at least finish up the stream. I think I'm going to head over to IRC and do anything. I know the broadcast is on about a 30-second lag with, I told YouTube try and make closed captions available, so it's taking a bit of extra time processing and doing some buffering for that one, but I'll just wait about a minute, and if I don't hear anything, then I'll probably head on off. Thank you very much. It's good to be able to give something back and see that the work's appreciated. So I'll see about doing some more. I think I've had one of the other developers with the bugs that have been raised recently hit me up and say, can I do confirmation testing and take a build of one of the recent runs and have a look at it before the quarterly maintenance release goes out, and I'll see about doing that and going through, and yeah, okay, no worries. Nice having a chat with you, and I guess I'll catch up with you later, and have a good afternoon, have a good night.